let's say that we're going to create a multi-page magazine layout, something similar to this. I'm going to go ahead and close this and we're going to start from scratch. Let's create a new document. Let's see, number of pages. Let's say we want this one to be 3 pages long. We're going to keep it at letter. Number of columns. Let's say we want this to have 4 columns on it. We're going to go ahead and click OK. And here is our document. To start out, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my layers panel. I'm going to create a couple layers here. Now my blue layer, I usually like to put my images. And my red layer, I usually like to put my text. Now you always want to work with some kind of reference material, whether they're sketches or a template or something like that, so that you know exactly where your images and your text are going to be. And then what you do is you go into your images and you create rectangle boxes on where you want your images to be. Let's say I want an image to be there, I'm going to want an image to be here, and I'm going to want an image to be at the bottom of the page. In fact, we're going to have a series of images down here. So I'm just going to copy this. I'm going to do this by holding the Option key, which gives me my little copy arrow, which is a shortcut. Click and drag. I'm going to hold Shift to constrain it straight to the right. I'm holding Option and Shift at the same time. To drag that over, I just duplicated that box 4 times. Let's say this is where we want our images to be. Then I'm going to go into my text boxes, same kind of thing. And I'm going to say, you know what, I'm going to want a text box here. I'm going to grab my selection tool, hold Option and Shift, drag over to duplicate, drag over to duplicate, drag over to duplicate. Now look what I did right here. I put a box on top of my pictures box. So I'm going to select that. I'm just going to scale it down. I'm going to hold Option and Shift to drag straight down. Drag it down here, align it with those two. Okay. Now this is a very quick way of setting up your individual pages. It's not very fancy. That's why you want to refer to some sort of sketches, but it'll work for now. So let's say I want to put my text in here. Usually your client will send you the body of text that you will be using. I never like to type up my own text because then I am prone to mistakes and those mistakes are mine. But if your client sends you the text to use, basically all you have to do is copy and paste. So I'm going to hide my InDesign right now, and you can see here's my folder with all my related elements for this project. You can see right here I have a document that my client has sent me. I'm just going to go ahead and open that in Microsoft Word. Edit, select all, edit, copy, and of course I would recommend you use keyboard shortcuts. Copy. Then I'm going to go over to InDesign, click on my text tool to make this frame a text box, and I'm going to Command V or edit, paste. And it puts all of the text from that document in here. Now, of course, clearly, there's too much text for this individual box when we get our overset text. Let's say you want your article to go in a certain pattern all the way through your document. If I go over my Pages panel, you'll notice here that I have 3 pages because we set up a 3-page document, right? If I scroll down here, you can see the other 2 pages, double-click my hand tool to frame it, right? I can even Command minus to zoom out. I can see all 3 of my pages. Now, let's say that I want my article to go from this box to this box to this box to this box to this box and then jump down to the other page. Just for illustration purposes, I'm going to Command C, Command V. It's going to copy and paste that box. I'm going to put it right in here. Hold the Option and the Shift, drag straight over. It snaps. And let's say we want this column to be a little bit shorter. Typically, most people read top to bottom, left to right. That can change depending on what country you are designing for. But for now, we're just going top to bottom, left to right. And as people would normally read, they would go from here to here and then down to the next page. So double-click my hand tool to frame my page. Now I'm going to grab my selection tool, and you'll notice this overset text right here. If I zoom in really, really close, and hold my spacebar to give me my hand tool to move down to it, you'll notice there's a little plus. Now if I click on it, it's going to give me this great big fat icon with this body of text. It basically says, I have the rest of the text here, where would you like it to go? So I'm going to zoom out and I'm going to say, you know what, I want it to go in this box. Be careful where you click, because sometimes if you click out here, it will create another box with it and put all the text in it. That's not what we want to do. So we want to click at the top left of this box and say, please put it in this box. So it does so. And obviously you see we have our overset text again. So again, I'm going to click on it, which says where do you want the rest of the text. This time I'm going to hold down the Option key and click here, and it still has that icon. Here, here, I'm going to zoom out a little bit so I can see. Hold Option, here, 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 and here. And you can see our article still continues on. Click out here on the pasteboard and it's going to throw the rest of it in there. So now I'm going to zoom back in here, go to page 1, and I can go to page 1 in my Pages panel by clicking on page 1 here. Double-clicking the hand tool to center. So if I go up here to View, Extras, Show Text Threads, it will turn on your text threads. You will see how this article is strung together. This is typically where you would read. This comes in handy because sometimes, as you see in magazine articles, they have several different articles on the same page. And then they have a note at the bottom that says continue to page 7b for the rest of the article. This is where this is going to come in handy. You're going to see how people are going to read through this article. This gives you the flow. So that's basically how text threads work.